Hi all and welcome to Under the Skin. I'm really pleased to announce that we are joined with by Sean Ongers, and he was my first captain when I played indoor cricket. Sean has been the previous men's England captain. He is the current over 35s captain and has 72 England caps still going. I think we have had a partial retirement, but I think he'll jump out of that again and play soon. But 72 caps, 50 of them have been as captain. So a wonderful wealth of experience, long time playing the game. Welcome to Sean.
Thanks a lot. Much appreciated, Anish.
No problem, mate. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long old time, 72 caps. Hopefully that the grey hair's got nothing to do with captaining people like me. But
it's probably more than you think.
Sean, yeah, I mean, one of the people that when I first started playing was big on the indoor scene, still are in many ways, but helped take a lot of us youngsters through the game. I'm thinking the likes of Sam Stooks and myself and a few of the others that played at the time, George Parsons, Nathan Barker, etc. But what I'm interested in is, how did you start your indoor cricket journey? When did that start?
A long time ago, probably older than Finley's on the call at the moment, videoing all of this. I had actually an ex-girlfriend before my wife. So, I've known Kat for so long. And I started playing indoor cricket as a mixed team. So I was invited around because the girlfriend her mom was actually playing mixed. And she invited me around to play cricket. And I certainly, at school, I didn't play much cricket. I played very much when I was younger. Then in middle sort of my senior years of school, I took up professional cycling. And then during that, I sort of completed the role of trying to cycle. It was too hard work. And she invited me around to an indoor cricket arena and said that all the drinks are free. So I had to go ahead. It was a team called Mixed Doubles, and got involved and started playing every sort of Tuesday night. And then one night someone said, "Hey, do you want to come across and play with the men's team?" I was like, "Yep, I've got nothing else to do. I'm playing this game. Afterwards, we'll go and play the men's team," and got involved in that. And then about 6 to 8 months later, we won the league in the mixed league. And one of the guys said, "Do you want to come and practice against the Natal squad?" And I was still a whippersnapper at that stage. But I said, "Yeah, I'll come compete against you guys. I don't know how good I am, but..." Rocked up there and got royally, taken apart by a well-drilled Natal men's side way back in the day. And ever since then, I thought, well, I want to play for Natal, which is KwaZulu Natal way back then. And this is in South Africa before I moved across here in '99. And then played a tournament for the Natal under 23s, and then shifted coming across to the UK. And coming across to the UK, there wasn't much indoor arenas in London. Much to my dismay, we had a look everywhere. So I took up outdoor cricket again, and started enjoying my outdoor cricket as a social field. And one day I was online, and this is before Facebook or WhatsApp or anything to do with technology-wise. And somebody wrote on a forum, we're playing indoor cricket up in Ipswich. And I thought, okay, well, let me try and contact someone in Ipswich. So made a few phone calls and contacted a gentleman called Gavin Driver. And Gavin Driver said, "Yeah, absolutely. We play every Thursday night. Feel free to get yourself up to Ipswich." So on a Thursday night from northwest London, I'd go all the way into central London, get on a train, go all the way up to Ipswich, walk the 4 miles from the station to the arena, play indoor cricket, and do the same all the way back. Until I got to know a couple of the guys, and they started offering me lifts there and back from the station in Ipswich, that is. So, getting home at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday night for the love of the game was absolutely an inspiration for me to carry on playing. And that's sort of how I got into indoor cricket in England. And then, played a lot. And then in 2004, I think, we played a British Open, and I created a team called KwaZulu Natal, which was pretty much all South Africans. And the only way you could play for us at that stage was that you had to have been playing for the Natal indoor cricket team back in South Africa, because there were so many expats in the world over in the UK. So we drove up to a tournament up in Ipswich. No one had played in a while, and I think the highest score scored against us was something like in the 30s. it wasn't much higher than that. And, we did phenomenally well, beating all the top sides. Whorton was still playing, Martin McCague, Edo was playing. So it was a really, really top class team. So we won that tournament. And actually, during that tournament, we got to meet some of the youngsters. So Anish and a lot of the youngsters, actually, because I remember taking some time and we spent a game while we were playing as KwaZulu. We spent another game playing on the side of the court with a whole bunch of youngsters, and we mixed the teams up. And you guys must have been, I don't know, in your teens, just in your teens, and we were all sort of 23, 24, and it was just so much fun to play that all the guys were like, "Oh, great, let's continue playing indoor cricket in England." So, and from there, everyone got involved in sort of the national league, and I got involved in my first tournament. It was actually in 2003. We went to Australia. And then in 2004, I made the World Cup for Sri Lanka. And that was a phenomenal tournament and thoroughly enjoyed that and have followed that sort of journey ever since.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I mean, I didn't realize the extent of how much that love of the game drove you to get trains from London to Ipswich, walk to the centre, walk back. I mean, that's a crazy, phenomenal
story. It was either that or staying away from my wife, but I'm sure that wasn't the case. Kat will tell you she's been part of the indoor scene forever. So
yeah, it becomes that a family thing, doesn't it, as a whole? So no, that's incredible to hear how that happened. So how long after that was the centre in London born?
Well, strangely enough, I heard about the centre in London. Someone said they're opening up an indoor cricket arena because there was a couple of centres that were open around London, but inside sports halls. So it was played with a soft ball and a tape, but they were playing similar rules to indoor cricket as we know. And then somebody said, "Oh, there's an arena opening up in Canary Wharf." So I wandered around and arrived at this arena, which was pretty much empty, except for the flooring laid. And this was about 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
And maybe a little later. To be fair, it's tough to remember those.
No, I think that's about right. Yeah, it's about right, roughly.
And we arrived there, and I think I was the first person to receive a bowled ball on the court because there was still no nets. So the owner was like, "Oh, come, Callum was come and meet us, come and see us," and sort of got a ball out and a bat and said, "This is what we're envisaging for Canary Wharf." And that sort of became the home of KwaZulu, the team that played for so long in Canary. So we formed our team and we competed there until they closed down and moved to Whitechapel. And then even when that closed down, then we've obviously continued to play up north. But the journey is tough.
Yeah,
other than that,
and different now, obviously, with more responsibilities in everyone's lives, I guess, since we were obviously a lot younger. So I can imagine how hard it is to continue playing. But I remember obviously Canary Wharf is a brilliant centre. The way it was laid out and stuff, it was really good fun going down there on the National League weekends. I mean, one of my questions was to ask you, what teams were you involved with in indoor cricket in the UK? And actually, you came to the UK and you started KwaZulu Natal straight away, and that's kind of been your home pretty much all the way through until recently, and it's become the Tree Frogs, obviously, as I guess more
same
of a
bunch of guys.
Yeah, same guys, just a different name.
Yeah, so we obviously I played for Ipswich, excuse me, in the National League for many years and thoroughly enjoyed that. And then 2004 we created sort of a British Open team, which was KwaZulu, and that evolved into a National League team as well. But we disbanded that in 2012 deliberately. And Michiel Bester, one of my best friends, who we call Pushpeg, he will tell this for the message forever, is that he was wearing he wore a bandana and he had a big moustache on that tournament. And he'll tell you that was the year that I told everybody I wanted to retire. And I had, a lot of good mates that were playing in that team. And I took them all into a huddle and said to them, "Guys, do it for me. It's the last time I'm playing this tournament in this game, in this country." And, what they didn't know is that I was retiring the name KwaZulu. I wasn't retiring. So we removed the name KwaZulu or KwaZulu Natal. And then future elements, we called ourselves KZN. So it was just an ongoing love for the game. So we sort of propelled that forward over and over. And then, we became part of the Tree Frogs community probably about 5 years ago now. And, all the same bunch of guys, except we changed our names, distancing ourselves a little bit from KwaZulu, but more not from a culture-wise, but certainly from a name-wise, and creating more of a family of people that love the game and travel all over the place. And we stick together in terms of indoor cricket purely because of distance traveling. We all share cars, and it allows us to get up there and all the way back. So great team to play for. And we're having golf days now, annual golf days, which are now starting to be positioned because we're struggling with cricket. So, but we'll still come up and play the British Opens every year.
Yeah, I'd say
make
though,
it in some way, shape, or form.
the amount of times in the past 6 years that I've heard that, we're retiring. This is our last British Open. This is our last British Open. And then every year they come back, and it's either obviously it was KwaZulu, KZN, now Tree Frogs. But now, yeah, we always worry that they're never going to come back. They're never going to play. But yeah, always every year.
Well, what's interesting is that having been captain for so long, obviously KwaZulu and Tree Frogs in England, the team have given me a performance improvement program. So I'm on a performance improvement program because what they've said is that Tree Frogs haven't won any silverware yet. And I think the challenge for me is that we keep making the final of everything and losing in the final. So I keep telling the team we absolutely are winning silverware. Every time it's silver, not gold. So, but I think that's more down to maybe a little bit of fitness and maybe the Saturday night before the finals. But,
I mean, I think Kieran's got a story on that.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes.
Interesting you mentioned like the 2012 one. That was the first time I played indoor cricket. I played at uni. I went to uni in Derby, and one of the guys says, "Do you want to play in this Open? It's in Derby this weekend. It'll be a good laugh." And I'd never seen yellow ball indoor before at that point. And I remember we played on like the Friday night. We had it, or Saturday night, whatever it was. And I remember the uni lads saying, "God, we need to be on this team. Like, have you seen these lads in the bar? Like, they're having a right time. This is class. Like, who are these guys?" So I'd never met you at that point. I had no idea who you all were. All I knew was that you lot were the fun lot. That was what we were calling you. You were the fun team. And then the Sunday came along, and I went and watched the final. I think you were in it. But first time I'd seen.
Last year we won. Yeah.
First time I'd seen you guys play. It was mad. I was going to ask you, out of that, have you got any? You don't have to throw anyone under the bus, so to speak, but have you got any funniest stories out of those days? Because it definitely had a community sense to the team and a family.
Yeah. From a local team wise, yeah, absolutely. We're a bunch of crazy guys, old men now who act like kids, and we've got our own little traits. So we've got a sort of like an initiation. A friendly initiation which happens of social, and we have to wear a hat that covers it covers your head, and it can't be a hat, as and there are little bits and pieces that we add in that have to be conducted by the team at certain times, and then we have a fines meeting. And unfortunately I can't tell you any more because you have to be a part of the KwaZulu team to know more. Anish, I know you know a little bit about this, so we'll keep this between us.
Who's the most fun out of your family then? Who's the person to get stuck on a night out with?
You know what? You don't have one. This is the best part about this family is that everyone in that team has their own sort of traits. Michiel will do the backflip on the dance floor and hits his head. Myles Wells will walk up to a bar and buy £100 worth of shots and not know he's paying for it. There's just certain elements, Clint McCabe will be on the dance floor dancing with everybody possible, So there are certain people that do certain things, but certainly as a group, everyone gets on so well. So there's no animosity or any problems like that ever, which has been why we've probably stuck together for so long and enjoyed each other's company.
Yeah, I'm sure Anish feels the same. I hope you continue to bring that because it does it definitely adds an element. When you guys come
we'll certainly try.
Be nice for that to rub off on some of the other teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, so you have such great memories just from the off the court side of the game, clearly, like the family elements behind it, the socials, all that kind of stuff. But what are your best memories of being on the court? You've had so many matches as an England player now, so many different things that have happened over your career. What's your best memories of being an indoor?
Well, what's kind of interesting is I've probably got three. One, when we were in Australia in 2003, we played against, I think it was in the second test, and myself and is going to hate me. I can't remember my batting partner's name. And we scored 40 against a strong Australian team in Australia. And I remember the crowd giving me absolute gears for that whole 4 overs. And they were chanting songs and singing songs and putting us a huge amount of pressure. And we won our skin. And in Australia, to win a skin when we traveled there was almost like gold dust. So that's definitely on my first tour of winning that skin was incredible feeling in terms of winning. And also telling them at the end when we lost the series 5-0 that England beat them at the World Cup Rugby by Johnny Wilkinson hitting over the penalty, the drop goal. But the second one is probably I'd probably say batting with my brother in the 2011 World Cup, because it was the very last time that I played men's. And Russell's not the easiest person to bat with, as Anish will tell you, but also probably one of the most talented I've ever seen play. If you can get, everything works. And we played the plate final against Sri Lanka, and myself and him walked out, and we got 39 runs to open the batting. And as just a brotherly environment that I remember, I definitely remember that as a huge sort of heartwarming moment that we had achieved something together as a brotherly unit, because that came few and far between. If anybody knows the Ongers brothers on the court. So that was definitely a big ticker. And then probably the last one I would say is recently at the 2016 World Cup. Probably a lot of that was incredible. We played really, really well in the Masters, getting ourselves up into 3rd place and putting ourselves into a massive winning position. But probably beating South Africa in that tournament was to get us into the semi-final berth. I thought that was winning by 1 run was incredibly rewarding for us. And then if I may tell you a fourth, I'd probably say when beating New Zealand the first game, which I didn't, we had never beaten New Zealand. I had never beaten New Zealand ever in my indoor cricketing career. So to beat them in that opening match just gave us such a high for the rest of the tournament, and the crowds that were at that match, and it was just an unbelievable tournament for England my England that I've experienced, if that makes sense.
Yeah, even just from a World Cup perspective, I guess I've been to quite a lot now. I'm sure you've been to more, but the crowd at that particular tournament was just the best I've ever seen at a World Cup event. Like the home crowd that was drew in and the support they gave was incredible. I mean, we obviously normally in a World Cup you have to move between courts, but we couldn't physically move England off court 3 because
it was incredible. Yeah, we just played on court 3. It was perfect.
Am I right in saying you were involved? Sorry, Anish. Right in saying you were involved in the team that beat Australia. Like you have beaten an Australian men's team as well.
Yeah,
you've had some pretty good experiences to leave that out of a top 5.
Yeah, I'd probably say that was in 2007. It's probably when I've probably forgotten there is I'm calling on such 2007. We beat. Yeah, you're right. We beat Australia, and the first team I think ever from an England perspective to beat Australia, and that was. We had very, very high hopes in that tournament. We had an unbelievable team that was playing, and we just got put to the post in terms of playing.
Yeah. I'm just curious. It was slightly Attiq, before my time.
Craig McDonough was our coach. Tim van Noort was our coach. Andy Walton was in it. Richie van der Linde, Blake van der Linde, Simon Roberts, Adam Breakspear, Attiq Christie, Leon Whorton, to name but a few. That was and Ian Hardy actually. Shame, and Ian had we lost to South Africa in that game by controversy. And there was a difficult moment for Ian because he took the ball, threw it on the stumps, and the umpire, he caught the ball, got the run out, then threw the ball onto the stumps, and the umpire gave a deliberate abuse of the stumps and knocked us 5 runs off. And then Tim van Noort got quite excited as our coach, shouted at the umpire and got another -5. And we lost by 8 runs or something during that game. So it was a tough tournament to swallow, but we took the plate anyway, the first plate.
Excellent.
That's my first memory of indoor, really, to be fair. Like being there watching Mickey play in that tournament, and I fell in love with that. That's what I knew. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to play down at Bristol. So Sean, I mean, all these years, your experience, what are your like true beliefs about the game? What for you makes you tick? What makes you keep coming back? What is it that you love about this game so much?
It's so strange. It's changed over the years. Initially it was to achieve something. So, when I started, when I began the indoor cricket, I didn't make the Natal team the first year. I was on a non-traveling reserve list. But what that gave me was inspiration to perform harder, get better, to see where I could go. And then I got selected to play for the Natal. And then I said, you know what, if I play one game for Natal, that I'm happy in life. And then I played more games. And then I said, okay, imagine if I could play overseas. And guess what? We moved overseas and I started playing overseas. And then when I was overseas, I thought, well, if I play for England, all I'd want is one international cap. Doesn't matter to who. I'll play against any national team. And got selected. And I said, well, imagine if I play one game, one match against Australia, because they're the world champions. Great, I tick that off. What happens if I won one skin against Australia? Tick that off. And all of these little sort of mile markers in my head gave me an idea of where I was traveling. So it wasn't like I walked into the game and, whenever it was in 1996 and said, oh, I'm gonna be captain of England. I'm gonna make 72 tests. I'm captain for 50 games. It's absolutely not the truth. You have to start off on your small incremental journey and then build up, because without those incremental journeys, you'll never know what you actually love either. So, if someone says, how much do you love your mother? Or tell me how you love your mother. You can't really describe that, but you do. And it's a similar thing with cricket, is that for me, it was initially that sort of aspiration of getting better and better and better. And over the years, it's situations now about, if I'm bowling, as an old man, I bowl normally the fourth and the eighth over, and it's a pressure situation. And I like that pressure, that sort of game plan of having to take a wicket or putting the next pair under pressure. So my beliefs are, those little incremental bits. The challenge, though, is making them all happen at the same time. So that's a difficult part. So, and then my other beliefs are hard work and belief of where you want to go, and dedication for sure. And the other one is probably changed over time, which is have a bit of fun. Because taking everything so seriously all the time, which is what I did for a long time of my playing career. I'd walk onto a court and be so focused and have headphones on and believe that that's the way I had to be because I'd seen someone else do that. And what I realized is that when I do that, I put myself into a different place than where I should be. Now, if it works for you, make it work for you. But that certainly isn't what made me work in the end. What I lost, I think, in those environments was my personality, my fun, my part that I really enjoyed. So that's what's definitely, I'm trying to bring back or have done in terms of all of that through my team, my environment, the players that I play with as well. Of course, there's going to be environments of stress. And, if you haven't played underneath me at any stage, you'll know that I'm seriously competitive in the situations. And I'll tell you, how well we're doing. And you'll hear that many times. So, but it's those little incrementals and then a bit of fun. Have a bit of fun.
Well, that's fantastic. Fantastic message for the kids, really. Those that are watching, when you watch this video, those few things, hard work. You don't get anywhere in life without hard work. But you've also got to have fun doing whatever it is that you're doing. In particular, if you want to make it as a sportsman, you've got to have fun. You've got to enjoy it.
You know this. We used to do it a lot. One of the best parts of playing indoor cricket is when we used to arrive at an arena or stay late, the one thing that the Kwazulu team or that group of people used to play was something called sixes.
Yeah.
So, we would run on a court and it'd be any time. It could be once we finished the game, at the end, if we've had some, beers in the bar, we'd come back on the court or whatever it may be. And the game is really get me out in 6 balls. But as a batsman, I've got to hit a 6, a 4, or a 3, or a 7, or a 5. It's backcourt smashing. But you can get out, and once you're out, you're out. So if you hit the ball in the end, someone catches your first ball, you're out. And the game is to play there as long as possible and hit those hard, strong shots. And it's just fun, and everyone's fielding, and the whole team's having a good game, and it's one-on-one. And that to me is, it's a memory I bring in because it's we always had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
I remember, a British Open, Tetley challenging me. This is Leon Whorton played for Derbyshire outdoor. Him saying after a couple of drinks, let's get on, we're going to play sixes. I'll bowl you 6 balls, you bowl me 6 balls, we'll see who gets all the runs. And that's just so much fun in terms of having those sort of good environments.
No, that's brilliant. I mean, the other thing I just wanted to touch on, I think Kieran's going to be up next, but the thing that you mentioned about pressure moments, for us now looking to grow this game and take it forward, one of the key messages that we're saying about this version of the game, in particular in our rules, is just how many pressure moments there are in every single game, and how that can help young cricketers, whether it be indoor or outdoor or life. Dealing with pressure moments. We've seen it so much in the past 2 years in outdoor cricket. Whether it's the T20 game, whether it's the modern era, but the amount of times that the game goes to the last couple of balls or the last over, World Cup final being the classic example. But dealing with pressure moments, coping with that pressure, this game, there's no better way to learn how to deal with that and have lots of opportunities to do it, because yes, you might do it once and you make a mistake, and then you don't get another pressure moment for another year, maybe in outdoor cricket, because somebody else will have that pressure moment. But in indoor, you can have that pressure moment over and over again, potentially. Each pair.
Yeah,
so it's just a great way to learn.
Definitely gives you a lot of practice.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, interesting. You mentioned the fun you guys had hitting sevens as well. Like maybe Nell took that into the Sri Lanka series, and watching him bomb sevens. Anish is there getting his 2, and Nell was just bombing sevens. It was awesome to watch. So,
I'm with you, Anish. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Fair play.
It's just long levers, to be fair, Kieran. It helps if you're 6'7", you got long arms.
Yeah, fair play. So just curious, out of my role now as development officer, I'm kind of curious. You've seen indoor cricket in South Africa. Obviously, you've experienced the difficulty that we have with travelling. But in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, what sort of maybe advice, or what do you hope to see from the sport? So for me to sort of take on, and where do you want us to go? How do you want? Have you got anything you'd want to say to us? Move the game forward.
It's a tough question, because I think a lot of it's been tried in terms of where we are, and I think the biggest challenge we have is the number of centres available, to give it the availability to kids, more importantly, and for adults to put the game to a place where kids aspire to be like. And South Africa and Australia do such a good job at this. They create sort of weekend cricket clubs, and because there's so many cricket clubs or so many courts, I mean, Sandton Arena had 7 courts at one stage, and they had under sort of 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all those age groups playing on a weekly tournament for sort of 6 to 8 weeks during school holidays. We just can't replicate that at the moment. Our arena in Birmingham is a 2-court arena. You're not going to get that volume of cricket into that environment. So for me, it's increasing that popularity of centres. And maybe now's a good time, because COVID's probably going to bring the rents down on most properties, and people are moving to a work from home environment. So maybe property becomes more affordable. But other than that, I think having more centres available will definitely spread that opportunity, because that's what you enjoy. Like you said, Kieran, you watched that tournament in 2012. That gives you an aspiration to be involved, want to be there. It has the wow moments. And I think we miss that if we just go down one route, which is, if we just start at grass level routes, that's for indoor cricket. I think we're gonna lose the opportunity to show the demonstration of the skill and ability of our sort of Anish Patels and the rest of the England squads at the moment, because it's by far, when you see some of the plays, the skill, it sort of gives you that environment of, I want to be like that. From a kid's environment, though, when they go to play in their tournaments or whatever, I think it has to be absolute fun. They need to see the aspirational side, but enjoy the fun element within the criteria of our rules. No man catting, Anish.
I'm a huge believer in that as well, Sean. Me and you are on the same page.
It's very important to bring kids along and let them enjoy it. But I think I'd love to see exhibition games happening in this country a lot more. So why question I raised a long time ago was LMS. They had a World Series recently, and it'd be lovely to see some of those players play indoor cricket. I say that with a bit of jest because two of the players in there play for me, Blake van Linden and Simon Dunning. So, but my point is more cross contamination of those skills. So LMS teams playing indoor cricket going and playing at 2020, outdoor Birmingham, Derbyshire outdoor cricket playing indoor cricket, and we've had that. I mean, I remember playing in a couple of exhibition games. And they were absolutely well supported, and the crowds were amazing in Derby. So more of that environment.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Whoever wins the league outdoor cricket, tap into them. Whoever's second, tap into them. Because now they've just won the league. Surely they want to play indoor cricket. Do an exhibition game. Let them challenge you. All these elements. I think we miss out on the competition wise, the competition mind skill of all the other people playing their games. There's an indoor cricket arena, indoor cricket's happening around the country at the moment, and that's quite big. It's the sort of like ECB element, which is, you tap it in the corner and you get a run. You miss the ball and the keeper gets it and you get 2 runs. The rules there, I don't think, are very they're not very conducive to exciting play. Yet it's very well supported, and the reason for that is probably because they got a lot of arenas around the country. Why don't you challenge them against the best in the country?
Yeah, it's really interesting. The route that we are going down is down that route of talking to the people who are playing the 6-a-side game and saying, actually, do you know what? If you could, maybe you could use the yellow ball instead of hard ball so that it swings more, so it's a bit harder for batters, or so that more people can play because you don't have to have pads, helmet, and all this kind of stuff. So that is something that Anish and I are actually going to be working on, is trying to expand how you can play our version. Depending on the fact that you might not have a tension net, but we'll find a way.
Yeah.
And the LMS idea is a great idea. So
yeah, it's an idea that I've had actually, and I was working on something with Garon Edwards because he knows the guys up there. It kind of fell by the wayside because of COVID last year, but it was looking to have some kind of partnership with LMS. They're basically not had that conversation yet even, but that's my idea, is that I'd love to have that kind of partnership with them. Given the amount of expats that play both LMS and indoor, it just makes complete and utter sense to do that, to be honest. But yeah, let's see where that goes. I hope that does have legs and it goes further. Exhibition games, great idea. I mean, Simon Roberts, I know he's started his own podcast, the Slogging It pod. He's working with the Taverners at the minute with that, and we've spoken about having an exhibition game between the Taverners and ourselves potentially at some point. So that's something to look out for as well. I mean, lots of things to look forward to, I guess.
Yeah, I'll tweet Archer because I'd love to see Archer bowling at Anish.
Yeah,
7 paces.
I'm not sure I fancy that. I don't think he comes off more than 7 anyway outdoors, does he? So
I mean, it'd be just as quick.
Yeah.
I'll be on social media revving him up, by the way.
Yeah.
You look pretty slow. It'd be frightening.
Anish said you can't bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Which one's Anish? Oh, this one.
The last couple of questions from me, really, Sean. Now, so who were your favourite opponents and why? Like when you played, whether it be National League or British Open and stuff, who were your favourite opponents?
Well, definitely, way back in the day, Stumps were a good side that I enjoyed playing against. They had all the best players around the country playing for them. Bob did a good job of sort of building his side up. Obviously, Zaheer and his guys, because over the years, they've probably definitely been our strongest competition, and we've thoroughly enjoyed playing them all the way through the years. And Jameer have been an amazing side to compete against. We always get done on the last day. We're a little bit more under the weather on the last day than they are. That's my excuse anyway. I'm going to stick with that. They're a fantastic outfit from a local sort of British Open and National League sort of tournaments. I think we've had some really good battles with them and made some good friends as well. And then probably internationally, it
has to be South Africa for you, surely.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think South Africa. I say that I think South Africa because I really compete against them. I really try I try and give my all, and it's not that I don't give my all in all the other games, but I sort of feel a little bit more of a pressure, because they normally say to us along the lines of, you're South African B or something like that. And, you get all of these sort of connotations, but they've, I've enjoyed my competition against them. But Australia, I enjoy playing against when I can nowadays. So I try and bleed some of the team out to play against Oz, but they're a different outfit to most teams. They're just so disciplined in what they do and very professionally minded. New Zealand are coming through like absolute rockets. They're an incredible outfit, and they're very, very strong. But yeah, I think my camaraderie with the South Africans on and off the court is good fun. So yeah, I must say probably South Africa.
Cool. So if you were to captain a side now and ignore years as such, out of all the people that you played with in sides, would you, and at their peak, who would be in your top 8?
Whoa.
It's a tough question.
We'll give you a minute. We can cut this to make sure you get a minute.
Yeah. And you can do it in positions if you like, if that makes it easier. But
can it be only players I've played with?
Yeah, players that you played with. Yeah. So no overseas players or anything like that, unless you played with them, of course.
At their peak, and what they're capable of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I'd probably go keeper Russell Ongers. Leg side, probably Blake at the moment, or Edo. Edo would probably be point, I'll be honest with you. He was incredible. Alex Nell cover. Yeah. Off 2. He's a freak. I obviously got to include myself on 3-line off when I was playing well, and not so old. Leg 3, Dunning, purely from he's an incredible player for such a. He should be a sort of a lock in a rugby team, but he's so agile, and he hits the ball like I've never seen before.
He's hit more down at 5 than anyone I've ever seen.
Incredible. Yeah. Who else? I'm probably gonna have to pick people I know at the moment, so they'll rinse me. I thought Simon Roberts was definitely in his prime, incredibly well. I thought Andy Walton, again, probably point, cover, or leg, anywhere there. He was incredible with the bat and ball and field. Top stumps is an interesting one. Probably Darla in Darlington.
Okay, yeah.
Many, many years ago, probably Darla. He had hands like incredible hands. Very, very good from that perspective. And probably Clint McCabe, just from a batting perspective. I think he's probably one person who has not much fear. So, he probably takes spinning attack quite comfortably, and against any spinners or paces, he's fine. So how many have I got left?
I reckon that's about 9,
over.
10, but 2 over. But no, that's good.
I'd probably give you, and some other people, definitely Zaheer. I think from I've never ever seen anyone hit the ball like Zaheer has over these years. I mean, from in a local environment, he's just unbelievable. I mean, he takes people apart, left-handed and right-handed, and closes his eyes and all sorts of stuff. I just, he blows me away many, many times. And I'm sure I've forgotten many, many people who have demonstrated and probably outperformed half of those guys. But that's what I can remember at the moment in this old age.
That's fine. It gets us comments when they kick off about it. So
we tag everyone in it.
Yeah.
No, that's brilliant. I guess a couple of take homes for the viewers now, and then we're pretty much done. But if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice to help you in your indoor career, what would you tell yourself?
Don't take it so seriously.
Really pleased you said that, because me and Anish are really serious people, and it's really good advice for
us. It is. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's good advice. And I guess the last one then, to any of our young players now playing, 12, 13, 14, what
Super
advice?
League.
Super League stuff. What advice do you give them about just indoor generally, like in terms of, let's say, cricketing stuff now, rather than the off the court and that? What advice do you give our youngsters, if they want to make it to be an England international?
Try things you haven't tried before. You know, I didn't learn to pull the ball off my front foot till later in my sort of cricketing career. So something that was very valuable, but I didn't realize that in the beginning. I used a lighter bat in indoor cricket. When I first started, I used a very heavy bat. So test out your equipment. You know, find something that works for you and try things, because that's definitely, I mean, that's where the innovation from outdoor cricket's definitely coming from, is the youngsters. Guys are absolutely fearless, and that's really good to see. I think indoor cricket, definitely there's a fearless factor, but I do think that you've got there's so much more risk associated in terms of runs and scoring with indoor cricket than outdoor cricket. That there is an element of skill that has to be practiced and it has to be repeated and repeated. So, you know, if there's a particular skill that you're looking to improve, give it a hell of a lot of practice, because and then make your mind up. You know, do 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 repetitions of it, and then make your mind up and change. But try not to chop and change too much, because I think you might you might try too many things and become an expert at none. Whereas I think you could pick 2 or 3 things that you're very good at. I mean, if everyone here and I said, who's the best reverse sweeper in the world, everyone's probably going to say Joss Butler, you know, and that's not by chance. He practices that all the time. That's his go-to shot. So you've got to practice what you're really good at, for sure, but try some things as well. Bats, feeling, stances, where you fit, where you stand. And you know, over my career, I've been standing out my crease, and nowadays I stand way back, because the ball I need to give it as much time as possible to reach me. But you know, I'm almost on my stumps when I play, and my front line's on the front line. You know, my front foot's on the front line. That's how deep I am in my stance. So it's up to you to make that decision. And then depending on who bowls, I might move forward or back, or left or right, or, you know, you'll make things happen for yourself. But from a starting point, yeah, enjoy it. That's probably the key I can say is enjoy your cricket and then practice what you're good at.
Fair enough. No, that's well said.
Brilliant.
So I don't know whether you know this, Sean, but the highest ever cap holder for England is Andy Walton.
Yes.
And he sits on 89.
He's told me.
He told you, has he? Okay, so he sits on 89 England caps. Obviously, he's got well over 100 international, but it's 89 England caps, and you sit on 72. So I'm sure that could be, like you said, you're always that little bit more. I think that could be your next little target, is that to finish off the largest ever cap holder for England would be a tremendous effort.
Absolutely. I've also been very good as a captain, because I normally can negotiate quite well. So, Anish, can you please put on some international tournaments so we can play them?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's cool.
You say that.
Yeah. I'm trying to reignite the cross-channel challenge across all age
in Guernsey.
Yeah, in Guernsey.
Brilliant.
So working with Alban, obviously Alban Ford. So that's something I'm trying to reignite. So that's like every year kind of thing, where we have junior masters, men, women, potentially all going to Guernsey.
And you remember that was your first tour. That was an unbelievably fun tour.
Yeah. 2010, my first men's tour. We had a great time in Guernsey.
Very first tournament we won 3-0.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your time, Sean. And I'm sure the viewers will love watching that, all the experience that you brought to the game over the years. From the kids that are watching, to play 72 matches for England is a tremendous effort, especially indoor when the matches aren't as frequent as the outdoor side. So do give this a watch, or presumably you've watched it already. But take on the advice. Have fun, practice hard, don't be afraid to try new things. So thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Much appreciated. Thanks, Anish.